Hey y'all, it's Alicia and welcome back to Alicia's Crafty Hoblob, and I am so excited to be bringing you Design Team Project number 1 for your creative studio. It was hard to choose which one to kick off the program with, and in the end I decided the mini junk journal and shaker tags were the way to go, because then there's a little something for everybody. As you all know, I have been dying to make a junk journal, and that has been a struggle because I don't sew. And recently, Soleil, Enchanted by Craft, who was amazingly supportive, sent me a sewn signature of vintage grid and lined paper. And I just about went over the moon. I was so thrilled. I was just so thrilled because that is exactly what I don't like, signatures that are not sewn the way that Soleil sewed it. So she sent me the blank so that I could then build my own journal out. Well, when I saw the things inside the subscription box, I knew that was going to be one of the projects, and it was so much fun to make. All right, so let's take a look at what happened in our first cover. This is a rose gold beautiful trim that also was sent to me by Soleil, Enchanted by Craft, and I so appreciate it and I love it. I've used it a couple of times in this project because it is so precious. On this page, I did quite a bit of work. I took the background page of many of the pages in this journal, this junk journal, are sheets. If you remember, I received a stack of these amazing receipt sheets. They're from grocery stores, from department stores, they're from a typewriter store. I love them, so I use them as the base for a lot of the pages in this junk journal. The cover is one of those, but what I did was I didn't just distress stain using vintage photo, but I pulled out my blending inks for this project. Oh yes, I went all out, y'all. I pulled out my Wendy Vecchi Garden Patina. And why do I like these so much? Because they actually blend with other inks. So instead of it just being like a glob on top of a glob, they blend to become different colors. So in this case, it became a natural looked aged patina of a soft muted turquoise and the vintage photo brown. I loved it, and I did that all around the edges. And then I laid down one of the fantastic tickets that were sent to me in the collection in this box, and that is one of these stickers, which I'm almost out of, but boy did I love using them. And then on top of that, I laid a photo from Vintage Photo and added a little Prima flower that I distressed and I pearlized. It came a little bit pearlized, but I needed a little bit more, so I did a little extra. And that was the front cover. Now, when you go inside, I used this incredible paper that was sent in the subscription box, and it feels a little bit like rice paper meets glassine. It has this fantastic texture, folks. So I made a pocket out of it, and then I laid a piece of paper from the collection on top of the pocket, and that photo that I distressed I had in my stash. And then I tucked in a couple of these photos from Vintage Photo into the pocket because I feel like this is a grandmother's kind of travel notebook that was discovered in an attic, and these are photographs from her trip, and I wanted this book to have that kind of feel, so I tucked those in there. The next page is her ticket for travel, and not only did I distress stain the entire page and use collage medium to age it, but I also did a little tea specialized staining where I mixed up some chai tea and I darkened it and deepened it, and then I slowly added it to the paper to give it a deeper texture. I added a scalloped lace edging on the side using a piece of paper from the subscription box and a little strip from my stash blended together, and I loved how that turned out. The next page is the passport page, or what I like to think of as the passport page. So here is our passport photo of the grandma traveling, and then I chose deliberately a sheet that was sent to me in the subscription box. Now this was a larger sheet. If you remember, I also got sheets this size. They're fantastic. But I cut it down because this looked very official. It had a lot of stamps like for travel. And I thought, oh my goodness, it looks just like a passport page. So I cut it down and I created a passport looking page. And on the flip side, I took a piece of paper from the subscription box that had all these stamps, official stamps from Morocco. So again, it was perfect. It looked like the inside of a passport. I scallop cut it out, and then over that I stamped a sentiment onto some artist tissue paper that I laid down. And what's really nice is that in person, the background images of the stamps, the travel stamps, poke through the translucent tracing paper. And it just says, courage is being yourself every day in a world that expects you to be someone else, which I thought was perfect for this kind of junk journal. Then you flip this over to our next page, and this was done a little differently. So remember I told you what I really liked about this box is that one side of the paper that they included, one side was travel themed and one side had a different pattern on it. And I just love that. So this is an example of that. On this side, I did some tearing and some distressing of several of the papers. I had some scraps, so I wanted to use them. I didn't want to waste a thing in this box. And so then I distress stained them and I laid them down and I built a collage. And then I also did a little tea staining on the spots. And over that I laid, and then I did some ticket stamping also. And then I laid these two ladies that look all dressed up and they look like they're waiting, you know, either at the airport or the train station. And it just made me think of travel and two girlfriends going on a big adventure trip. So that was that. And then on the flip side, I built a tuck spot. It's the same paper. It's just in the reverse pattern. I added another bit of that beautiful rose gold trim. And then I added my favorite pieces from this box, which are these vellum pieces. I told you all when I opened the box how excited I am about these. Wait till you see what I've done with them. They don't just look fabulous laid down. Oh, they make all sorts of magical projects, as you're going to see. So I tucked a few of those in here, and behind that is just more of that amazing paper, just done in the pattern style, as opposed to the travel style. This is another blessing of this box, is how versatile it is, and it speaks to more than one way of making, which I love. And then you go to the next page, and on here, this is the music paper I told you that is the only paper that was not from the subscription pad. And this is a stamp I had in my collection. And it just reminded me again of this feeling of travel and freedom. I loved it. I loved it. So it had to be included. And then on the opposite side is another invoice sheet. And I think this is a great, I left it as a photo mat in case the person who wins this little mini junk journal might want to put a little photo in there. Maybe of their grandmother or of themselves. Because very shortly, I'm going to ask you down below in the comment section to tell me what your favorite item is from the subscription box. And if you do that without making it obvious, then I will include you in a draw and I will pick a winner and that person will win this little mini junk journal, courtesy of your creative studio. All right, y'all. On this page, I had in my stash an atlas of the world. So I distress stained it and I collage medium to age it. This is that darling little gold bookmark that came with the subscription box of Paris, and it fit perfectly here. And I put another little ticket, but this one I built up a little bit on cardstock to give it a little dimension. And then I also had some vintage grid paper in my stash, so I cut some up so that there is a tuck spot for notes. And again, on this page, instead of just doing the distress photo, I stained it with the patina and mixed it, the Wendy Vecchi and the distress, to make it look patinaed in a natural way. On this side, I built a pocket. And guess what is inside the pocket? Well, first let's talk about the front of this pocket. The front was really fun to make. It is a piece of the paper cut apart and stained and stamped. Then on top of that, this is one of those, you remember I got a whole stack of tickets that were from China for travel? Well, I took that and the cover of another piece, blended them together, and then I used the other ticket stamp. Now, I will say that out of the two stamps, this stamp worked from the first stamp. I was stunned. It didn't need to be seasoned. And so you can see it all throughout the journal. I have it everywhere. It worked expertly from the first stamp, which is very uncommon for stamps. You normally need them to be seasoned. The ticket stamp, which is super cute, and you see it here, and I really love it, took a while to season. And I will say that it's a little bit finicky. You do have to make sure that you apply the ink evenly. That's important, but that's important for any stamp. But I do want to be honest about that. This took longer to season, and it does require you to pay attention to the inking. This one stamps like a beauty with your eyes closed, and I even tried that. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable, this stamp. And I really like it. I used it a lot. You'll see it here all over. What's inside the pocket? Oh, Okay, so I've told you from the second I unboxed this that one of my favorite things in this box were these vellum pieces, right? First of all, I couldn't believe how many came in the box. It's an astounding amount, right? It's an astounding amount of vellum pieces. I've never seen vellum pieces like this. They're really good quality. There's everything from guest checks to tickets to receipts to notes to postcards. It's incredible. I told you right away, I'm in love with this. This might be my favorite thing in the whole box. Now, I have made a ton of projects with these, and I still have half a pack left. I told you there were over 100. I'm stunned. This alone would have made me buy the box. That's how many projects I've managed to get out of this little pad. So I made a cute little shaker tag. Now, this one doesn't make enough of a sound for me, just a little bit of a shaker sound. This one doesn't have any seed beads in it because it has lots of stars and things related to travel that I thought would look super cute. But I actually made a ton of these because I think they're darling. So I made a ton, and I'm going to convert some into tags, and I'm going to convert others into embellishments because they're amazing. Like, you know, and what's really interesting is you don't have to be a vintage crafter to love a vellum shaker, because I'll tell you where I got this idea from. Recently, Anna, otherwise known as Ephemeris, this one's really good. I got this one to go. I figured out which ones shook the best and made the sound without the seed beads. But yeah, I made a bunch of these, and I mean a bunch. And you see, I've used these vellum pieces in every part of the journal and in all the other projects that I've made. And I still have this many left. Unbelievable. So I got this idea from Ephemeris, otherwise known Anna Silver, otherwise known as Ephemeris 32, because she recently sent me a glassine shaker that was hand sewn. So then I knew I could make this one. So I love this. It's a little sequin shaker that goes into the junk journal, into this little pocket. And again, totally matches the collection. And then you flip that over. And here I left, this is another one of those receipts. And again, it was patinaed and distress stained. On this side, I went back to that lovely pattern paper, but I did add strips of both the music paper and also the other paper that came with the subscription box that looks very similar to this. And I loved it. And I distress stained that too. And I added in this photo because I felt, and in the back you can see I used the polka dot paper from the collection. I like this because it was like this is one of those photos taken on the journey. All right, now we're on to the next page. Here I left a spot for some note-taking or journaling, or a journaling spot. But there's that stamp again that I love so much, that is clean and crisp every single time. Over here, another of the travel pages, scalloped and cut out. This one again with travel stamps, but this time from Italy. And then you go to the next page, and this one's a little different. So this one again, we have the amazing rose gold trim. This is a butterfly stamp I have, I believe from Tim Holtz, but it matched perfectly with this butterfly, awesome, beautiful butterfly paper that I got in the subscription box. So I did that on artist tracing paper, laid it down over the vintage grid paper. On this side, I used that beautiful butterfly paper from the subscription box. And over that, I laid lavender sparkle tulle just to add a little sparkle. And then I added those two women that look like they're on vacation somewhere having a wonderful time. And the sentiment says, when in doubt, vacation. And I layered the sentiment up not only on paper from the collection, but on chipboard to give it some dimension. Our next page is a little more simple. It's, again, I just tea stained and vintage collage medium, all of these pages. I did a little stamping at the bottom again with my favorite stamp from the subscription box. This one that I adore. And you can turn this one it doesn't matter which way you turn it. It just adds something new. I love it. And then I went back and did a bit of the T-spot staining. And then on this one, our second last page, I did a little pocket using the paper from the collection. And I made a little mini tag. So that tucks in there. And then last but not least, I made a vellum pocket for the back. And then I was 3/4 vellum, 1/4 paper from the collection. And then there's a ticket and a little floral that I had in my stash. And this says, every possibility begins with the courage to imagine. And I feel like travel is all about that. If you can imagine the trip, then you can go. But what the nice surprise is with this, also comes this layered tag piece that's interactive. So this began as a sticker from the Dollar Tree, and I just altered the heck out of it. First of all, I added paper from the subscription box, so I completely changed its feel. I distressed and stained both sides. Then I took the original sticker, layered it up over paper from the subscription box, and then I put chipboard on the back to give it some heft. So this became a really fun interactive tag that is at the end. And then the back of the junk journal looks like this. There's the music paper, but the music paper is layered over this gorgeous, on top of that is layered this gorgeous paper from the collection that has this beautiful green undertone that perfectly matched the back of the book. And then I used Wendy Vecchi's green, darker green, I think it's called Evergreen. No, it's not the Evergreen one. Maybe it is. Fern. I used Fern. And I distressed edged, and then I went back around it with the Tim Holtz vintage photo. So again, we got 2 ink colors together. So that, folks, is project number 1 for Your Creative Studios March 2020 subscription box, a junk journal with a shaker tag. And I really hope you enjoyed this project. Please feel free to leave me any comments down below or any questions you have about the product line or about how I made this book or any of the processes I used or any of the treatments I used. I will tell you, I definitely have enough materials left, and I can share that with you, to make at least 3 more of these books and several tags. This box is incredibly generous if you plan well with it. And I'm astounded that I have made about 10 shakers, and I've used this on almost every single page of every project because I love them that much, and I still have this many left. So I know this is incredible value, and many of you said you were sad that the box was sold out. It is an incredible box. I'm sure that Amanda is going to be curating lots of incredible boxes in the future, so I am going to put the link for Your Creative Studio down below. Please make sure to check them out and to follow them, because I'm fairly certain that Amanda will be bringing you something else exciting and magical very soon. Thank you all so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Again, a huge thank you to Amanda for inviting me to design with these amazing products. This was a true joy. I loved doing it, and thank you. It was a wonderful creative experience. And a big thank you to Amanda and to Your Creative Studio. All right, y'all, that is it for me, and I will see you real soon. Bye for now.